Hey, everybody. My name is Duchess, and this is where we talk about true crime and missing cases. And tonight, I have a special guest with me. I have Vannah Marie, which is Jaden Carpenter's sister, and we're going to talk a little bit about her case. Crystal was also up here with Crystal Connections, but she just dropped off, so she'll probably pop back up here in just a minute. So I'm going to go over to the chat and welcome everybody in before we get started. Vannah, thank you so much for being here to come and talk to us again about your sister's case. How have you been doing?
Thank you for having me. I've been doing all right. Just got through the holidays and
Yeah.
trying to push the story out again.
Well, we're so thankful that you're back to talk to us about Jaden and any new information that you have. Thank you for being here, Michelle. Thanks all the moderators and members for joining us here tonight. I'm going to try to be putting in some more live streams. There are a lot of people that are missing all throughout Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina. I think I made 10 missing flyers today, and I've got a lot of other cases that I want to talk about. But I wanted to make sure that we got Jaden's case in there because her flyer still needs to be circulated. And I wanted to make sure that we talked about that case straight away. So, Heidi, thank you so much for being here. Hey,
There was
Jessica.
actually a lot of people that had just recently heard of the story just from locally there that had never heard anything
That's
about
wonderful. See, that is, listen, when I ask people to share it out, these cases I can't get but in front of so many people, so if other people will share out those flyers, you guys are going to get it in front of people that I might not ever be able to get it seen. So it's that's why the Duchess is not just me. It's a community. It's a community of people that helped, to get the information out there so more people can see it. Jaden was possibly spotted by Arctic's friend out in Arkansas. Remember, that
yeah.
was the last update that we had. And Arctic, have you heard from your friend? I know that he was going to keep an eye out. I don't know. Have you heard any more sightings of your sister since that? Hey, Ronald.
No, I had like a scammer message me and say they knew where that she was, but then they wanted money for the information of where she was at, and it just seemed like a scammer. Like everything they were saying kind of sounded like a foreigner, like they didn't have their English all the way good, like stuff like that. But
That sounds creepy.
and that's like the lowest of the low. Like, how are you gonna go after a family and try to play off of their emotions just to get some money?
So did this person say that he had knowledge of where she was? I mean, did he
uh
indicate like he knew if she had been
well,
kidnapped or where she
the,
might be, or
the
how
person
was
had
that presented?
yeah, the person had like messaged me on Facebook, and so I got like a message request. And when I looked at it, the first thing that it said was, "Hey, I know where Jaden is." So because my message
Oh
request,
my
I can read
gosh.
it. I can read it without like replying, and people won't know or whatever. So, I ended up
Hey,
reaching
Amanda.
back, and I was like, okay, and then they started coming at me like sideways and stuff, and just being, I don't know, they didn't seem legit, but they said something about how she hasn't reached out to any of us because she's not responsible for her disappearance, that she was basically taken by sex traffickers, and if I wanted to get my sister home safe, I had to trust this person and give them my money. And once they got the money, they would tell me the information to safely get my sister home, and yada yada, tactics.
Did you turn this over to the police though?
I did, and the detective pretty much said the same thing, that he thought it was a scammer, but I don't think that they actually like looked into it. I feel like he just looked at the messages and like what they were saying and how they were asking for money and stuff, and was like, "Oh yeah, it's a scammer." But
Hey,
it,
Savannah. Thanks for being here. Hey, Christine. That is wild. I can't believe that they didn't look into that because
yeah, I don't know. Recently, every time I've gotten a hold of them, they have said something about how they were doing
hey,
grand jury
Emily.
trials, and they've been really busy with other cases and blah blah blah.
Wow. Hey, mystery sister Sally. I hope you're doing well. I don't think I've seen you here before, but thank you for being here. Crystal, are you back now?
Are
Yes,
you
I had to reset my whole router, you all. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's
It
okay.
happened. I had to
Just
come
kind
on
of
the
going
back.
down my list.
I had to view
Is
my line on
Dippy
the.
here? Because Dippy, I can't see you. How come I can't see you? Why can't I see you on my StreamYard? Are you I don't have you blocked. Let me look on my phone. Are you in here, Dippy? Because I don't have you blocked, but maybe do you have me blocked? Because I don't see you, but you're welcome to be here if you're here. Um, I'll double check to make sure I don't have you on my block list, but I don't see you in my chat. But if you're here, you're welcome to be here. I'll make sure I check on that, Dippy, for you. Just make sure if you don't have me blocked because I can't see you for some reason. Thank you guys for being here to talk about this case. That is really wild. I'm so glad that you shared that part with me. I want to go over and pull up Jaden's flyer that I have listed up here. This is a flyer that I actually made for Vannah. And this says Jaden Carpenter, missing since October the 7th of 2022 from Columbia, Murray County, Tennessee. She is a female. Is she still 22 years old, or do we need to update this flyer, Vannah?
Yeah, she's still 22. Her birthday is actually June 15th. So the same day Summer Wells went missing is her birthday.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I won't forget that now. So she's still 22 years old. She is a white female. She has brown hair. It may have some highlights in it. She has blue eyes. She is 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighs approximately 130 pounds and wears glasses. Jaden is also known as Shug, and she was last heard from on October 7th by her ex-boyfriend via Snapchat. Jaden may be staying in the Murray County or Williamson County areas, and information at the time suggested that she might have been out of state, according to law enforcement. But the story was a whole lot more than that, because what turned out to be was she was living with her boyfriend, correct?
Yes, she was living with
And
her. Yep.
yeah, and this boyfriend reportedly said that they were watching a movie and she wanted to go to the store, and in the
Well,
middle of the
well,
evening.
what had happened was, okay, so the last person who saw her was her boyfriend. His name is Tyrese. James Tyson Reese. He goes by Tyrese. Um,
Okay.
she she was last seen at his mother's home in Colioca, Tennessee. Um, he told me that they had been working and they were getting ready for bed, and she said that she was hungry. So he said to take the car and go to town and go get some food. Well, while she was gone, supposedly she had texted him and said that she couldn't do this anymore and she was done with the relationship and she was leaving, and he would find his vehicle in the driveway with the keys in it. But then he told law enforcement something similar, except for he woke up in the middle of the night and she was gone, and he had a text message from her saying something similar, but the only difference was he would find his vehicle somewhere in the roadway with the keys in it.
Wow, that's two different stories.
Right, right. And that's so, yeah, like what he told me and what he told law enforcement didn't really match up. And also I reached out to him because, well, initially her ex-boyfriend had reached out to me. His name's Ryan Kronk. He had reached out to me because he was still in contact with her when she was dating Tyrese. So he
Right.
had reached out to me and said that none of the people that she speaks to had seen or heard from her in like 7 days, like a week. And it was unusual for her. So initially I didn't really think a lot of it. So I just was like, okay, I'll just try to get a hold of her. Maybe she's avoiding him, you know? And so I tried to get a hold of her, and on every platform possible, and I couldn't get through to her. So I gave it like another day. I had messaged Tyrese, and he didn't reply, and I had like tried calling him and he didn't answer. And then like the next day he had replied and told me that story. And so then I had Ryan had already been trying to file a missing persons report, but they thought that he was like a disgruntled ex that she didn't really want to talk to, and yada yada. So I ended up having to call up there and file the report. And yeah, that's basically where we're at with that.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when you first told me this whole story, and I was like, I've got a lot of questions, Vannah, about this boyfriend, because obviously she was living there with him and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about his Facebook presence a little bit. I mean, I'm assuming that there were pictures of your sister and him on his
That,
Facebook. Can you talk to me about that at all?
yeah, and if you wanted to, you could even pull up the post that I posted on the Help Find Jaden Carpenter group.
Okay, I'll share that screen.
Basically, I had reached out to him, and he still had pictures of him and my sister on his Facebook. But the day after she went missing, he had changed his profile picture to a selfie, changed his profile to single, but he still had those pictures on there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I reached out to him, before I reached out to him, I took screenshots of all the pictures. And then I had reached out to him and talked to him. And then I went to his page again, and all of those pictures were gone. He had deleted every single picture that he had of him and my sister off of his Facebook.
That seems like unusual behavior.
I mean, yeah, it seems kind of like a guilty conscience or something, like you're trying to hide something. I don't, this is just my suspicions. Obviously, I don't have like solid evidence of him being being guilty, but it's definitely suspicious.
Definitely. So I see here on January the 25th, if you're not a member of the Help Find Jaden Carpenter public group on Facebook and you would like to join, come on over there. I'm a moderator over there in the group. We'd love to have you over there if you're interested in learning more about this case and helping to share awareness to help find Jaden Carpenter. The link will be in the chat. The moderators are dropping that. And this post basically reads, "Welcome, everyone. Jaden Lee has now been missing for 1 year and 108 days. She was last seen by her boyfriend at the time, James Tyson Reese, aka Tyrese, at his mother's home and how do you say that? Holyoke,
Culleoka, Tennessee.
Holyoke, Tennessee. And is that near Columbia?
Yeah, it's not far. It's actually still in Murray County.
Okay. Which was also assumed to be Jaden's place of residency at the time of her disappearance. However, her ex, Ryan Kronk, was the last to speak to her via Snapchat. He stated she sounded distressed and wanted him to come get her. He told me that before she could tell him an address, their call got disconnected and he was unable to reach her again. So, about 8 days after nobody had seen or heard from Suge, Ryan contacted me to inform me of my sister's disappearance. I live states away, so it wasn't unusual for us to go a week or two without contact. And initially, I didn't think much of it until I was also unable to reach my sister on all platforms. And that's when I contacted Tyrese to ask him the whereabouts of my sister. And he stated they were getting ready for bed, and Suge said she was hungry, so she took his black 2016 Jeep Cherokee to town for food. While she was out, she texted him saying, "I can't do this anymore. Your car's in the driveway with the keys in it." Which is odd because there is nothing in walking distance from that area, so somebody would have had to have picked her up. Also, there were some slight inconsistencies in his story to the police from what he told me. He told law enforcement that he woke up in the middle of the night and she was gone, with a text that supposedly read, "I can't do this anymore. You'll find your car somewhere in the roadway with the keys in it." And as far as I know, law enforcement was unable to corroborate either text Shirley being sent while reviewing her cell phone data. It's also strange that after I was in contact with Reese, he deleted all the photos he had of him and my sister on his social media account. Huh, but not before I got screenshots. And there they are. That is an odd picture, I have to say. The look.
Yeah, and you can tell she's definitely, strung out, like she's going through it. And the way he's looking at her is definitely something.
It doesn't give me a good vibe at all.
No, to me, it's creepy. The way he
Very.
looks at her.
Well, and you also have to think about the age difference. Like, he's a year older than me, so he's like 31, 32, and she's only 21. Like,
Oh,
he knows what is what, and somebody who's younger and maybe a little more naive.
I just don't know how he can just walk away and
Yeah.
just delete everything, and that's supposed to be.
Well, one of the comments on that post actually said that his mother actually was close with law enforcement, that she had worked at the sheriff's department in Murray County.
His mother?
Yes, his mother, and her name is Lois Reese.
Wow.
And
yes.
so, and another strange thing, I actually have a screenshot of that I can send you later. But another strange thing is, not long after she went missing, his mother got a request from the city to build a pool.
To build a pool.
Yeah, to build a pool.
Does this pool got concrete by any chance?
It would have to, because if it was an in-ground pool anywhere in that area, it would have to be, because it's all hilly and rocky terrain. They would have to level it out and put concrete in. I don't know if they've gotten it or if they were approved or anything, but I did see the paperwork that was it was published for their address, and it was like public records for that area, and it was under their address, and it had his mom's name on it. And
wow. It gives me Heather Elvis vibes. And if for anybody that doesn't know who that is, she is still missing here in South Carolina in Murrells Inlet. She was having an affair with a married man, and she got pregnant. The wife found out about it. They had a confrontation. And months later, after the wife had asked the husband not to contact her, he called her on the phone and asked her to meet him at a boat landing. And his truck was seen there on the video, except for her car was there, and she never left, and she's never been found. But strangely, in that case, shortly after she went missing, they had their driveway asphalted.
Huh.
And it caused a lot of uproar. In fact, they came and dug their driveway up looking for evidence.
Yeah,
and both of them are still in jail.
The same thing happened with Crystal Rogers.
Yeah.
Well, I was also going to say, I don't remember the exact case, but I was watching something about like a true crime case, and it was something like that, where they had put fresh concrete down, and they actually have the technology to like scan over it to see if there's any like geological like fossils and stuff like that. They can scan over it to see.
That's right. That's what they did here. They had somebody to come out and scan all of that area, and they were so upset. But listen, both of them are still in jail, but they still haven't found a body, so they can only get them for like kidnapping her and all of this other stuff. But y'all, it's so sad. Like, it's always sometimes the people that you don't really think are going to be involved in something like that, but you got to have the evidence. But it does look suspicious, because It
Right.
just seems odd that she's gonna leave his vehicle in the middle, like, where is the evidence to corroborate that that really happened?
Right.
Surely
And
they've got her
far as
cell
law
phone
enforcement has
forensic
told me,
data, right?
right. And as far as law enforcement has told me, they were unable to corroborate either of those texts. That because they have her phone data. I don't know that they were able to get his phone data, but they have her phone data, and they saw that those texts have not been sent unless she was using a different phone with a different number that they don't know about. Which, I mean, the possibilities of where she could be are many. Me and my mom have always thought there's possibility that she could have gotten in bad with like some bad people in like the drug world and stuff, because right before she went missing, she had like ripped a bunch of people off for like a lot of money. Like
Mm,
um her dad actually had sent her like 4 grand. I think we talked about that. And she was at
yes.
the Richland Hotel, and the bus ticket, and she never showed up to get off the bus when he went to the bus station to pick her up. And then she had told her godfather that she needed money for an attorney to get her daughter back, and got him for like 2 or 3 grand. And then she just owed a bunch of people like random, like hundreds amounts, and like was asking for money from everybody. So we have
Mm,
always thought that maybe she owed somebody money that she
right.
should have been messing with, and possibly, something like that,
I
you know.
think all these are all situations to possibly consider when you don't really have much to go on. The last person to see her is the person who says that she took the vehicle, but really would like to know where the evidence is to prove that that scenario even took place, because
Yeah, and I feel like it needs to be
Well,
further. I feel like law enforcement needs to put some pressure on it and push further, because even if he's not guilty of whatever, he knows more than what he's saying. He has to. He was the last person to see her. He has to know more than what he's saying.
something has always stumped me in this case. She was supposed to took that vehicle, but wasn't that vehicle somewhere around the end of the driveway?
Right. And supposedly, if he told law enforcement that the vehicle was somewhere in the roadway, where did he find it?
Yeah.
Where did you find your vehicle, Tyrese? Like, I would really like to know. So she left it in the roadway somewhere with the keys in it. How come somebody else didn't already take it before you got to it? You know?
yeah,
Another thing about the money. Yes, to me that's a possibility, but I've got to look at it like this too. He was her boyfriend at the time.
Right.
Now, if I was in that position and my significant other went missing, then I would be making a big effort to prove I had nothing to do with it,
Right.
instead of deleting pictures and just pretty much not saying
Or
anything
at
except
least
for
trying
giving
to help. At least try to
Yeah.
help, like share the missing poster at least once. I mean, I understand that supposedly she left and they weren't in a good term or whatever, but he still, if he was a good person and had any kindness in his heart, he would at least share the poster and try to find out what he could to try to find her.
no,
Let me ask you something. With that money, would it be her debt or their debt?
It's really hard to say. I would think maybe it would probably have been her debt. She did have some run-ins with some pretty wild people. She definitely lived that lifestyle where she was, hustling and doing whatever she could to just, you know, keep her head above water, where she was, you know,
Cindy in chat has a good question. Says, could her boyfriend be involved in human trafficking? He looks very suspicious.
exactly. And
well,
I said that was a good question.
that's actually something that, you know, has crossed my mind, that maybe he knows more than what he's saying, and he might have had a hand in getting her to where she's at. And that, obviously, if he has a hand in that, he's not going to say anything else, because then the people might come after him or whatever.
Right. And Arctic said, I'd be leading every search if it was my significant other. That didn't make any
Yes.
Straight
sense,
up.
does it, Arctic?
It,
I mean,
well, supposedly she left him and then went
hey,
missing.
Cindy.
So that's just the weird thing. Like the timeline, he had, like lining it right up where she left me first. She left before. I don't know where she is. She left. So who knows? I mean, she could have left and met somebody else. You know, his story could be true. That's the thing. We don't know. And you know, she could have left and met
But
with
then that
somebody else.
brings me back to the message.
Right.
That brings me back to the panic message to the ex-boyfriend. I mean, I've always felt like the ex-boyfriend cared more than the new one, because he's the one that reported, hey,
Yes.
something's up.
Yeah, she was actually with
You know,
Ryan for like a year. She like me and her had, you know, we'd been in close contact, and she had been with him, you know, a lot of the time when I was video calling her and stuff, you know, for a while before she got with Tyrese. But I believe she got with Tyrese towards like the end of August or sometime around that in 2021 or
Yeah, they
2022.
weren't
I'm
together
sorry.
but just a couple of months.
Yeah, they were
That's-
only together. And yeah, that actually comes to a message that my sister had sent me. Like the last time we spoke was October 3rd. And she had messaged me saying that because previously she had thought Ryan hacked her Facebook and like her messenger and stuff. And then she had messaged me saying that Ty was crazy and that he was the one that really hacked her stuff and made everybody think it was Ryan, and that she was going to leave him and she would call when she left. She always told me she would call me and never did. So like, I never really, whatever. She's doing whatever, you know, and didn't think anything of it. I never thought in a million years that this would be what we were going through now when I
Right.
spoke to her then, you
Well,
know,
you know,
and
we put out this flyer right here, and Arctic shared it. And then Arctic had a friend that got in touch with him and said, hey, I actually bought this girl something to eat. I can't believe it, but you know, you can see here on the poster, it says several tattoos. She has baby girl across her chest, and
yeah,
it's
that
in Old English.
actually was in Fort Smith, Arkansas. That
Yes.
yeah, because Arctic had shared it out, and it was actually a friend of Arctic. He said it was actually a friend that he knows that would not just come to him with this information if it wasn't something that he believed to be true. So, yeah, he said that he saw her panhandling near the interstate there, and like by a McDonald's, and he bought her a meal, like bought her some food and gave her some money because she said she was going to get a bus ticket to go to Colorado.
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out like what's in Colorado. So,
well,
you know,
and I put the
Yeah,
billboards up in
yeah,
yes,
Crystal
Colorado.
had actually shared a billboard. She
she
had
sure
put the
did.
billboards up in Colorado. I think we need to try the billboards again, but in Columbia. I think
Okay, we
we
can
need to
do it.
we need to put some billboards up in Columbia, and we need to get on the ground, like people that are around there get on the ground and put flyers out. Like, it's crazy to me how many people that are right there that have not even heard anything about it.
Well,
And
we can definitely do it. Yes, One Love. This is Jaden's sister, Vanna Marie. Yes, they do look alike, don't they?
Yes, they do.
we have
Well,
And
you know, I
Crystal, we
never,
appreciate you putting her poster also on your husband's rig.
yeah, that
yes, and
the
that's what I
magnet
was going to
flyers.
say. You know, in
Actually, I had
Georgia,
somebody tell me that they had seen your husband's truck with my sister's flyer on it. And I believe she's in North Carolina.
oh,
She had,
well, a little bit back, he actually turned in a tip at a truck stop in Georgia because there was a man there that had swore he had saw her. But he said he couldn't put his finger on it, but he said, I'm around this area all the time. It would have to be around here. Uh, but he never heard nothing back from it. But he did report that. Um, one thing I think is very important is Jaden has a familiar look too. I mean,
Yeah, let's put her poster back up.
um, I don't know, just she's got like a familiar face to me. Um, but now I've always said that Vannah, I felt connected with Vannah, and I didn't know why, had no clue why. And then I was looking back through my videos and I saw my niece, and her and Vannah would pass for twins. And I'm like, there it is. Right there is
Oh, I didn't know
my
that.
connect. I think I told Dutchess a little while back, didn't I, Dutch?
You did. You did. You told me that you felt connected to Van, and but you couldn't put your finger on it, you know?
Yeah.
But what are the chances, guys? Listen,
It could just be
people say,
spiritual
I don't
too.
know why you shared these missing cases, but listen, what are the chances that somebody's going to look at the flyer and then say, hey, I saw this person? Like, people can be found. This is proof that people do find people.
Well,
People,
not
hey,
even
I've
just
seen this
that, but like,
person.
not even just that, but being okay to give out the information of the names of people who saw her last opens up more doors for people to know that person and possibly know some information about the case. And so I felt like, because I was just to the point where I was like, how long am I going to have to go without mentioning these people's names? Because there could be other people in danger because they're around these people, and well, around, and I just don't want that situation to happen to anybody else. Not that, I have my suspicions. I don't know for sure, but it's just one of those things. It's like, you don't really want to let anybody else get in that position and be around this person that's potentially dangerous.
Arctic says he needs to put her flowers on the rear window of his new truck tomorrow. We appreciate you doing that, Arctic. I was just wondering if you had talked to your friend, if he had, seen her around or anything. If she was headed to Colorado,
She could be
the other
gone.
place is, maybe, should we put another billboard out near Colorado also? I mean, we don't know if she was really headed out that way. What's the chances that you're going to see somebody that has that tattooed across her chest in Old English? I mean, that looks just like her. I just don't feel like that's and
I don't
plus
know
with all
though.
these
Also,
other tattoos.
at the same time with that, my sister is smart. She's smart. If she knew that she was like being looked for and missing, I don't feel like she would wear something that revealed that tattoo. Like if she was actually running away, she would cover that because that's one of her distinctive marks.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, anything's possible at this point.
Yeah.
Like with that scammer that messaged me, another reason I knew that they weren't legit is because when I asked them where they were, they told me that they were in my hometown, which is in Michigan. And they were saying that they were in Michigan and they had seen my sister. Well, my sister, like, they obviously had went to my page and saw my hometown on my page and was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm at. I need money, blah, blah, blah. But then they sent me their location, like a pin location, and it was at the country club. You need money from me, but you're chilling at the country club.
Wow. Hey, Landon.
So, it's just, I don't know. It's just been going on for so long, and it still hits me really hard, and it's just a lot.
Well, we definitely want to help you get those billboards back up. And I know, Crystal, we can get some people together that will help us to crowdfund to get them up for, some amount of time. I think putting them up in Columbia would be critical, because if somebody knows something, but maybe
They
they
don't
need a
know it.
little encouragement to come out and say what it is.
Right.
Because what if Jaden did owe people money and there was somebody that was collecting a debt? I mean, that could have got her into a trafficking situation.
Right. And also, like, if she got bad in with, like, say, the cartel or something, we may never know what happened to her.
One Love, she went missing October the 7th of 2022 from Columbia, Murray County, Tennessee. You can see that here on the flyer that I've made. I've made a couple of these, and Crystal's husband has put it on his rig and driven around the country with that on there. And we have put up a couple of billboards as well. And there is a Facebook group that you can join. But this is out of Columbia, Murray County, Tennessee, October 7th.
And the Facebook group is also linked in the chat. It's
Yes.
Help
Yes.
Find Jaden Carpenter on Facebook. It's a public group.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone in here is not already a part of that group, feel free to join the group, share her poster, share anything from the group. Everything is able to be shared.
She also has a NAMUS link. Her NAMUS missing persons number is 99098. And if that has a lot of the same detailed information. And Vannah and I've just tried to give her the information that's going to help her. She's got in touch with the people with NAMUS. She's staying in touch with the police department. Here you can see Detective Sean O'Brien, and it has a particular phone number here that goes directly to his line, as well as, if I take my banner down, you can see the bottom. It's got the direct number for Maury County Sheriff's Department. But he is the main detective on this case. And there is another gentleman that's also working on this case, Vannah. What is his name?
Detective Voss is actually
Detective
another one.
Voss.
And he's
Okay.
actually one of the head of narcotics detectives. So
Okay.
a lot
Great.
of it has to do with narcotics and trying to find dealers and all that. And that's what also prompted me and my mom to wonder if maybe she got in over her head with somebody that she shouldn't have been dealing with, because if maybe they have more information than what we know about, because they're trying to, bust somebody major, that has something to do with it. That's another possibility.
Yes. And Flies, thank you for sharing the Facebook group. It is sad, Victoria, because it just doesn't add up, and it doesn't make sense to Jaden's sister. And that's why I told her, if you want to come and be Jaden's voice and share her story, I won't silence you, because I think it's important for you to be able, for people to hear from the person's family themselves. I would much rather the family speak for themselves and just allow me to give them the freedom to get out the information that they want to have shared, because I do want to stick to the factual information. If there's something that we're not sure of, we always want to say, in my opinion, or allegedly, this is something that I read on social media. But it's so important to stick to the facts, because we're not law enforcement. We're not detectives. We're not here to try to solve the case, but sometimes it can happen. We can help find people that are missing. Sometimes people choose to go missing because they want to, but more often than not, people don't choose to just go missing. And I just don't feel like that is the case. Yes, she is only 22, One Love.
And it's not like her, like
Thank you, Ronald.
previously, when I hadn't spoke to her in the past, like I had told her, like, hey, you need to keep in touch with me, make me worry about you. And she had promised to keep in touch with me. And like ever since then, me and her had spoke like every week, every 2 weeks, video chatted for hours at a time. Like we were pretty tight. And like, growing up, I'm 8 years older than her. So like she was like my first kid, like I grew up and had a lot of responsibility with helping my mom with the kids and everything. And she was my little sister. She was like my first experience at like helping raise somebody else. And just I don't feel that she would put me through this and know how bad it hurts me to not know where she is and just be out there living her life. Like I don't feel like she would do that to me.
Ronald, thank you for sharing Jaden's case in Hickman County and Dixon County. I appreciate you doing that. We've just got to keep her face out there in case somebody knows something. Because right now we just don't have a lot of leads, except for that Arctic's friend he says that he saw her in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I'm inclined to believe that it's very possible. I mean, could we possibly have a doppelganger with the same Old English tattoo? I don't I don't believe in coincidences, so it's kind of hard to say. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate your prayers. I know that Vannah certainly does. Hey, Miss Chewy, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad to see you. Hey, Elizabeth. I'm glad to see you're here. Um, what is, if you could say something, this is a brand new year. Your sister's been missing for over a year. If you thought there was a chance that Jaden was out there and she might watch this live stream, is there a message that you would want to tell your sister today in the event that she was to watch this live stream?
I would just tell her that, she's putting everybody through a whole world of her. Everybody misses her. She missed the passing of our grandmother. If she could just come home, if she could come here, we would accept her home with open arms. We, like, just to know that she was okay. Even if she didn't want to come home, just like let somebody know that she's alive and okay. Like, she doesn't. I mean, that's all I would really, and all I would want for her is to have a life, and a life that she wants to live and to be happy and get away from all the negativity that she was around before. And that's about it. Like, you'd be welcome home. We want you
Vannah,
to come home. We love you and we miss you, and I'll never stop loving you, and I'll never stop trying to find you.
You're such a wonderful sister, Vannah.
yes, you are. Vannah, I got a question. Kind of along those same lines. If someone knows what happened to Jaden, what would you have to say to them?
I hope that the guilt eats you alive, and that it weighs on you so heavy that you have no other choice than to tell us what happened, to actually feel empathy in your heart and understand what my family is going through and tell us what happened. No, no scammers trying to get money or anything like that. Just like come forward and tell us what happened, where she is. We just want closure. We want to know what happened. We want to know where she is. We want to know if she's okay. And I have that right. That's my baby sister. I was 8 years old when she was born. I was there for her entire life. And, she may have been telling me one thing and doing something else, but she's still my little sister, and I love her no matter what.
Amen.
Yes.
I feel the same way. I have a younger sister, and I would be screaming from the rooftops.
I would
wouldn't.
too.
I would feel
My
so
sister,
lost to
my
know.
sis, my baby sister is 8 years younger than me, and I think when Vanna was on my panel, my sister was in the chat, and she said that's like us. And that hit home to me. What would I be doing? I'd be doing exactly what Vanna is. Um, if anybody has information, I want you to know that you can turn in stuff anonymously.
Reach out to
But
law
turn
enforcement.
it in.
Don't even, yeah, reaching out to me, I'm fine with that. But reaching out to law enforcement first would be even better, especially if it's valuable and viable information. If it's something that is legit, law enforcement needs to be aware of it. And reaching out to me is wasting time. So they need to be aware of it. If you reach out to them and then reach out to me, I'd be completely fine with that.
Yeah, because Vanna just wants answers. Her family needs answers. Even if Jaden is out there and she just doesn't want to be found, like just somebody letting the family know and law enforcement know, if she can just make a phone call and let somebody know, like that they'll be okay with that. They just want to know that she's okay because they just have a feeling that that's not the situation. And, we just want to collectively, as this community, get the information out there so that this family can have the answers that they need. Because as a mother, I know, my child is 30 years old and I can't get him to call me to save my life unless he needs money. Then he'll call me right away. But he's living his life. Is if he don't need nothing from me, I'll call him And listen, it bugs me. I'm like, just text me and let me know that you're okay.
Right.
But, at least once a week he'll check in with me. But I get on to him all the time because he don't return my calls as often as I would like. So to think that my son would just want to disappear and I wouldn't hear from him for I cannot imagine. It would eat me alive.
Yeah. I mean, there's still times where I'll be just like laying in bed at night and it like hits me all over again. Like my sister
I
is really
cannot even.
missing. Like I'll just be laying in bed and my heart sinks to the floor. Like this is reality. She's actually missing and it's still.
And you don't think this is any type of behavior that is something normal for your sister, that she would be gone for this
No.
extended period of time?
No, my sister has her phone glued to her hand. She's always on social media. She was always on any kind of, you know,
Hey,
Snapchat, all
Sonia.
that stuff. She was always very active on social media. So for her
Um,
to be off of her phone, there's something wrong.
Vannah, I haven't ever asked you this, I don't think. You probably answered it 100 times, but did they ever find her phone or try to ping it?
No, they didn't find anything. The only thing was, okay, so she was, I guess supposedly what detectives had gathered, she was like back and forth between Tyrese and Ryan's home.
Mhm.
And the majority of her stuff was actually at Ryan's still. She didn't take a lot of stuff to Reese's. But what? They both turned in all of her items to the police. And I guess Tyrese, all that was in the bag from where she was staying at his house was a duffel bag with like a couple bras and panties and like a pair of sweatpants and a blank notebook.
So they never found her phone because she received that. Ryan received that message, right?
Well, it was on Snapchat. So actually, Snapchat doesn't retain any data after like 72 hours or something like that.
But I mean, to send that message, she would have had to have her phone.
Right. Right. Well, it was actually a Snapchat call, supposedly.
Mm.
Snapchat actually doesn't retain any data past 72 hours. So like they would have had to been on it like right after she went missing to be able to retain any of that data.
Yeah, because it automatically deletes.
Right. And they can, like, Snapchat does retain the data. Like, Snapchat servers will hold, like, messages and stuff like that. That's how law enforcement has been able to use it for, like, other things, like, people selling drugs and stuff through Snapchat. Like, but they were on it and they were watching those people's phones already. And
Right.
this is like, she was missing already for, like, 15 days. No, it wasn't 15 days. It was like 10 days before she even got reported missing.
Well, it seems like if
So,
she just left his car, well, I
right.
guess he just wanted to make it seem like she had left of her own
And it
of her own
also
volition, I guess.
I feel
And
like the way that he explained it to law enforcement about her just taking his car and leaving it in the roadway, it was like a way to make her look worse to law enforcement. Like she already doesn't look bad enough. She's an addict and she's living this lifestyle where she's communicating with two dudes, like, you know and she already looks bad enough to law enforcement, and they're trying to make her look worse so that the law enforcement doesn't have any interest in her case. Like, oh, she did this to herself.
yeah, I hope
So
we can
speaking
certainly.
of Snapchat, I'm assuming her location was turned off and everything. The
Yeah,
reason I'm asking is I'm wondering, is there anybody that would be able to figure out her password? Because a little while back, I had after one of my foster kids aged out, she went missing. And the cops said she's 19 years old. We can't consider her missing. And because nobody's heard from her. So I'll be honest with you, I had somebody hack her Snapchat and turn her location on because I knew if she was out there, she would be fooling with that Snapchat one way or another. And that's how I found her.
Yeah, I don't think anyone, I don't know that anyone has access to her Snapchat. And I mean, she hasn't been active on Snapchat. She has not been on there. Like, I tried calling her on Snapchat. That was one of the platforms that I had tried to reach her on.
Well, didn't you say that the Snapchat call that she had originally with him ended abruptly? Like
Yeah,
as if
something happened or the service got lost. Yeah.
or maybe somebody snatched her phone away from her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my head's at.
That's
Her
kind of what I
phone,
was
I mean,
thinking
it
when
would
I said
have to be
something
in
happened.
one of two places. It would have to be on her if she's still out there, or on the person that grabbed her.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
is
That's
very important. That's why I wanted to know if they got the digital forensics off of her phone. Because if you have a find my phone, I mean, I'm assuming they could probably track
well,
your phone, even if it didn't have battery charge. It
she
seems
had an
like,
iPhone too, and like I've mentioned that before. Like, I had the Find My iPhone app, and like it was on like a page over from my alarm. And at nighttime, I like turned my alarm on and set my phone down. The next morning, when I woke up, I opened my phone and it was on the Find My iPhone app on her contact, and it said no location found. Like, it was like a paranormal or something. Like, I don't know. It was just weird because it was like 2 pages over from my alarm, and the last thing I did was set my alarm. So when I opened my phone, the Find My iPhone app should not have been open.
That
that
gave me
is,
chills.
And it said her contact name, and it said no location found. Like, a reminder, like, they still haven't found me, sis. Like,
You
see,
know,
that's what doesn't make sense.
I would also like to just say, for everybody in chat and stuff, please share this out. I know you've heard that she might have had some problems with drugs and stuff, but please be mindful that nobody wakes up and says, I want to be an addict. I want to be on drugs. I want to be hooked to
and,
something.
and to anybody that
They
is,
are,
there's hope. There's hope. I'm 5 years
yes,
clean. 5 years clean. Like, I lived that life, and I know how hard it is to get out of it, but that doesn't mean that you can't be redeemed. That doesn't mean that she couldn't have been redeemed. That doesn't mean that she couldn't be living the life that she was supposed to be living by now.
amen.
Anybody who's living that lifestyle, they have the opportunity to get out of it. They can still turn their life around and choose a better life.
I agree. And I'm
Absolutely.
very
I mean,
proud of you.
yes, very proud of you. And I would love to say, I would like to know, well, not really like to know, but I would love to think that if anything happened to me, that my sister would be on it like you are, because you haven't gave up. You've been her voice from day one. And
Hmm.
I mean, you're awesome, Vannah. And I mean, people just, I know the flyer says she's a white 22-year-old with brown hair and blue eyes, but she's so much more than that. She
That's right.
is Vanna's sister. She is a daughter. She is a mom. And
Yes.
she deserves justice, and she deserves to be found.
There's
Yeah.
people that love her, regardless of what your personal thoughts about everybody has trials and tribulations, but her life matters.
Everybody copes with their demons in their own way.
That's right, and it
And
doesn't mean
yes,
that
they do.
her soul doesn't matter, and she is loved, and people wanna know that she's okay, and so that's why we make it our mission. It doesn't matter where you come from or what kind of struggles you're going through, your life matters, and if we've gotta make a missing flyer and try to find you, then we will.
Hmm.
Yes. Absolutely.
And Vanna, you're doing such a fantastic job with the Facebook group and staying on top of it with law enforcement, making sure that you're checking in to see if there's anything. Are there any designated places that you've thought about? Because obviously we can't have them search the property where she used to reside because that's with the ex-boyfriend. I mean, that's really the only known place that she would have been. There's no other locations that she's associated with that you're aware of?
Well, there was like the police were looking into this group in Hickman County. Um, Supposedly a lot of bad stuff happened out there, but it ended up being just like a wild goose chase. And like she was involved with a couple of the people out there, but I don't know. Honestly, there's so many possibilities of what could have happened or where she is, and it's just sad that nobody has the human decency to say something.
Um, how many searches has been made for Jaden, Vanna?
I do know that the only actual search that was done was the one in Hickman County. They had like like I think it was like a 300 or 30, I don't even remember, something acres where they had dogs and police out searching out, and it was by this dude named Robbie Greenfield's house. But he actually just recently passed away. He had a lot of health problems from years of drug use and all of that. So
Mhm.
he had just recently passed away, but the search was right there by his house. And it was like right there, like in a really wooded area and like out in the middle of nowhere in Hickman County.
Wow.
Um, so I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume at all, so I'm just going to ask. Because he said that she left and said she couldn't do it. Was his home considered a crime scene? Did they search there or do anything?
As far as I know, all they've done is question him. I did see that that Ronald asked about doing a polygraph. They had said something to me about scheduling to do a polygraph, but they also have mentioned that polygraphs don't hold up in court. So if like he did mess up his polygraph, it still would not hold up in court as evidence. So regardless of whether or not he does a polygraph and fails or passes, it really wouldn't make much of a difference. The only way it would make a difference if it's is if he was somehow to crack under the pressure and give a confession.
Um, what's the people he hangs around like? I mean,
What?
is he in trouble a lot or
Who?
Tyrese.
yes,
No, he actually has a squeaky clean record. His ex-wife actually works at the juvenile facility in Murray County. I guess his mom used to work at the sheriff's department. He has a military background. Um, I don't know what branch he was in or what service he was under or anything like that, but I know that he had a military background. Um, as far as I know, he looks good on paper.
well, so did Ted Bundy.
Right. I mean, Ted Bundy was supposedly charming.
Yeah.
Classic narcissist.
But
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna keep putting up the billboards. You just let me know if there's another place besides Columbia, Tennessee. Crystal and I will look into it on the blip. Crystal, just get with me. We'll look at it later tonight or one day this week, and we can look and see what sites are near Columbia.
yeah, definitely
Okay.
Columbia
Is
for sure.
is there any other areas, Vanna, that you might be interested in putting a billboard?
Well, maybe Arkansas, Colorado, Michigan, like any areas like that. But number one for me would probably be Columbia. I feel like people around there need to see her face first to know where she went missing from. And like a lot of people actually probably already know her. You know, I mean, it's a bigger area, but it's really a small town. Like everybody around there knows everybody. That's why it's so confusing because like everybody knows everybody. Something would need to come out. Like so many people commented on that post on Facebook about how they knew him and, you know, they knew his family and they were like neighbors with him and they, you know, a bunch of different things have come out. So
If we could organize like a search party, do you think we would have problems searching?
I do think that we would not be able to search their property. I feel like they would make it so there had to be a warrant involved to search their property. Um, yeah, I don't really know. That's the only place that I would really know to search. Like,
And you know what though? That itself would say volumes, in my opinion.
yeah,
So we don't know if has law enforcement ever commented that they searched his property at all?
they told me that they did not have enough evidence to execute a warrant to search that property.
Yeah, so that means that they asked if they could search and they said no. And because otherwise they would have been allowed to search and he would have had an
Right.
answer. So they probably asked him if they could search and they probably said you'll have to get a warrant. And yeah, without enough evidence, they don't. And
Yeah, and I don't
the
understand.
evidence is probably on the if there was evidence, it would be on the property and you wouldn't find the evidence to need the search warrant unless you search the
Already had the
property.
warrant.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like, I don't understand why
Like,
that
how does
being
that
like
even work?
I have messages that tell me that she was living there. That was her place of residency when she went missing. How come that's not enough to get a warrant?
Well,
Is it law enforcement not trying to get a warrant, or is it that they
Well,
really just don't have enough evidence to get a warrant?
well, I would think with his story changing right there would be probable cause.
I
yeah,
would think
because
so.
no matter how many days go past or what things transpire, the truth is always going to be the truth, no matter which way you explain it. It's going to
And,
be the same,
and the
and
truth
his is
and
not.
the darkness always comes to the light.
Oh, it will.
Yes, it will.
But that's pretty much
Sometimes it takes time, though, to unravel the way that, and that can be painful because it can take a lot of time in some cases. Because other cases, I mean, we're still waiting on the Summer Wells case, and that just seems like as the world turns, like on a penny, it's like so slow and feels like nothing is happening. But we just have to it's hard to trust that law enforcement's doing anything because we don't know what's really happening. So we have to put our faith in those systems. But
Yeah.
as the family member, Vannah, you have a direct line to law enforcement. If they're not telling you anything, you can call them every day if you have to. I've heard of cases where mothers have written a letter every single day to the governor for 16 years to get an answer.
Well, I mean, my
And it's
family's been
sad.
waiting 37.
I'm in direct contact with Detective Boss basically weekly. Like we text each other and we talk. So I mean I'm keeping contact with him.
Yeah, if he
And
hadn't
like
already
with
got rid of the car, Arctic Fox, do you think he still has that vehicle? Because I'm
um
inclined to
it
agree
got
with Arctic Fox
repossessed.
here.
It actually yeah, law enforcement had actually searched the vehicle. It got repossessed and they had to track it down from the repo company to search it. But
Oh, really?
I don't think they did it like a forensic comb over it. I think they just looked in it to see if they saw anything because they said they didn't find anything.
Wow.
And I don't know that they actually looked for DNA. Like, I feel like maybe they just looked to see if there was anything in there. And with like how long it had been, she had been missing and they were able to track the car down, who knows? It could have been completely cleaned out.
Well, that's true too. Somebody could have wiped it down with fingerprints or
Yeah.
any of that.
Blood's a little harder to get rid of, though.
True.
Right. But if they didn't actually
If they didn't
Yes,
execute
for it.
luminol and
They
all that, I
test on
mean,
it.
they probably would have had to disclose that they did all that to the vehicle.
Right. Yeah, I don't
So
know.
how do you get the evidence if the evidence is in the place where you can't get the warrant to get the evidence? We need to have a special guest.
Style.
I'm gonna have to call my
We're
husband's
gonna need some
friend
vigilantes.
that was former law enforcement, and I'm gonna have to ask him all these questions. I wonder
But
if he'll come on and do a stream with us, so we can ask him all of these trivial questions about when we can't get the answers that we want, because
or that we need.
we don't want to hinder the case, but sometimes I have to question what I think is really going on, because I've worked on a couple of cases where I feel like law enforcement has acted rather egregiously or hasn't acted at all, you
Maybe
know?
Well,
something completely over our heads, like, she was involved with people that law enforcement are scared of. Maybe it's something like that. We don't know. And I mean, there's been different rumors, and people have came and said, things about her owing money to the cartels and stuff, and if that's the case, law enforcement isn't going to want to get their hands in that. Nobody's going to want to mess with the cartel.
Why would she be owing money to the cartel, though? She wasn't in deep like that, right?
Well, it doesn't take long. A lot of people that I know that were running in crowds like that in the area that she's in, there's a lot of cartel.
yeah.
So it doesn't take long when you're running in a crowd with drugs to run into somebody in the cartel. So you could even be, I mean, there was people I knew that were running drugs for the cartel, and then they were like, oh, I'm in too deep, and got out. But like, it's possible. I guess there's like a campground down there called NACO. And I guess there's a lot of cartel that hang out down there at the campground and just stuff like that. I don't really know. If I ran into the cartel when I was in that lifestyle, I would have no idea.
Arctic,
Because I
you're
wasn't
making
in
me
that
laugh.
deep.
Quit.
Right.
I had to mute out because of his comment.
No filter Fanny was fixing to come in.
Yes.
Arctic, I mean, yeah, why are you going to be a cop, but then you're afraid of the cartel and the mafia? Isn't that why we have the cops? I mean, I'm
I
just
don't
asking for a
know.
friend, and that friend is Arctic, because he needs to know. He's feeling the stress in the chat right now, because do your jobs. But it doesn't seem like a lot of people want to do their jobs
And
in
that's
all
kind of how
walks
I
of life.
feel when I message them about my sister's case, and they say stuff about how they're so busy with all these other cases. Like, I get that, but that's your job. And I'm only worried about my sister's case. I don't care about, I mean, I care. I'm glad you're doing what you need to do with all that. But like, really? That's your excuse? Like, you're not going to. But they also, like, they don't have anything to work with. So how are they going to keep trying to dig for something when they have nothing?
I mean, I keep coming back to, and I mean, I guess it's because it's a big lot of it's because it's Tennessee, but to the redhead murders, they marked these women off because of the job that they, or what they did for a living, because they were women of the night, so to say.
Well, that's how it feels like it is too. They're like marking her off because she was an addict.
Right.
Yeah,
like their lives are less important.
And I don't like that, because TBI even told the students that come down there, because they had come up with new technology to find DNA in the redhead murders to be able to identify these women. And when they were telling them what they were there for, they said, "Oh, you're talking about the throwaway women." And that has always stuck in my mind. Nobody should be labeled like that.
No.
I don't care what they're doing, for a living. They shouldn't be labeled like that. And it took, I think, almost 12 years for the lady in my area that they found to be identified. But it was because of these college students. It wasn't because of law enforcement.
Yeah.
I think they just don't think that missing cases, like a lot of these departments, where these cases happen, they don't have departments that are just for missing people. Their
No.
department is they have detectives that are
Right.
handling
Like
murders
like
and
I said, the
all of
Detective
those
Voss
other
is head
things.
of narcotics. And like Detective O'Brien is the homicide, I believe, detective for homicide, and Detective Voss is for narcotics. So they don't have a
Right.
missing persons unit.
So what do you think that they're going to look at as priority? Do you think it's going to be the missing person? Are they going to work on that case, or are they going to work on homicide and narcotics? You
That's
see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that is a lot
right.
of the answers I get from a lot of families that are like, I'm not getting the help that I need. And then I look into it and it turns out, well, they're not a very big department. So therefore, they're understaffed and they don't really have a lot of people to be able to spread all of the different cases, because crime
It's
is
so high.
it's exponentially high, and there's a
Right.
lot of
And
people.
Columbia is pretty bad. Like the area is pretty bad for crime rate. Like I understand that they are extremely busy. Like I do understand that there's new crimes
Right.
every single day, that they get presented with. So I do get that.
Yes, Kim, she does have a NAMUS profile, and they have dropped the link in chat. If one of the mods want to drop that link one more time from Miss Kim, she is in NAMUS, and that number is listed on her missing poster number 99098. So she is in the missing persons file, and that's why we just got to keep sharing this out, because sometimes law enforcement is hoping that in some cases that the person is going to return of their own volition,
Mhm.
or that someone is going to come forward with
With information.
information,
Right.
yes, that is going to give them a reason
And that's
that
why, yep, that's
that
exactly
they
why
need to
doing these
move forward.
lives. That's exactly
So,
why doing these lives is so important. It's just to get the exposure.
well, that's how we were able to get slid on Tyler Dool's case. We've just got to continue to try to get people's attention, especially because this to me sounds like suspicious circumstances at best. I just don't feel like, with everything that you have told us about Jaden, even though she was, dealing with addiction, she still doesn't strike me as the kind of girl that's just going to not have
Disappear.
her phone, not contact her family, just be gone for. It's been a year and, let's see, November, December, January, and 4 months already, and not a peep, not on social media. That is not what a normal 22-year-old is going to do. Something is
No.
inherently wrong.
Yeah.
Now, I have
And
to ask you this. I mean, is it possible that she could have overdosed and somebody
I mean, yeah,
hit her body?
that was always one of the thoughts in my head, was that, possibly she had overdosed and got dumped out somewhere, or maybe she had went somewhere and overdosed herself, because like I said, she was a really depressed person. She lost everything. She lost her daughter, she lost everything. She hadn't talked to my mom in over a year. Like she felt like she had nothing to live for, and she was just sad all the time. And so like that was one of the possibilities that I thought, had maybe she had went somewhere that nobody would find her and overdose. But I don't know, and I still have a hard time believing she would do that. Like I feel
Right.
like she would chicken out at the last minute and regret it and just never, I don't know. But I mean, like as far as I knew, when I was talking to her, like before I found out from everybody else, she was clean. She had told me she was clean. So, and like there was a point where I didn't really believe her, because we were video chatting and she was like broke out really bad, and like it looked like she had been digging at her face and stuff, and I had said something to her about it, and she said that she got a new face wash and got a chemical burn. So like I had kind of had my suspicions, but I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt,
Right.
being I wanted to believe her, I wanted that for her, and I wanted it to be true.
Well, you've done all that you can, and we're going to continue to help support you in the future in trying to get Jaden's
Thank you.
information out. I know that she knows that you love her, and I hope if she is out there, maybe she will see the message that you left for her in this live stream. I just feel like there's something suspicious that's happened, and I do have to agree with you that the boyfriend, they've only known each other just 8 weeks at best. It sounds like it's something very suspicious that has
Yes.
happened, and he's not being completely honest. I'm not totally convinced about his changing of the stories with her going in the car to leave, and then her, you said that the texts weren't even sent from her phone to him. So I just feel like he's been caught in a lie, and
Yeah.
we just have to really continue
Yeah, I feel like
to hope
that
that
should
law
be enough
enforcement will
probable cause to at
eventually
least
investigate.
maybe get his phone
Don't give
data like
up.
that. Right, right. I won't. But that's pretty much everything for the update.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us. I've learned a lot tonight. Crystal, do you have
Yes.
anything that you want to ask or say at this point?
I just want Vannah to know that she can always reach out to me. Anything that I can do, I'm here to help her.
I appreciate you both so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
and we will get to work on, trying to figure out the billboard situation, and I'll get with you. Hey, sweet D, thanks for being here. I just wanted to say hey to you. I just saw you over in chat. Um, we will contact you and let you know what we can figure out. We'll talk over the next few days and see what I can figure out. Um, I will let you guys know if we might need to, if there's anybody that wants to contribute to something with the billboards, you can message me or you can message Crystal or Michelle and let us know. Because I don't know how long we'll be able to keep it up, but
Yeah, because they're pretty expensive. It's like a daily fare.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you can put it to like $10 or $15. I think that was about what when I did Summer Wells, I did it for just a couple of weeks because I mean it can accumulate. Um, but
Yeah,
at
I
least you can
actually
get her
kept
face out there for a little
Jaden's up
while,
for about a month.
That's what I did. For the other one for Summer Wells, and then we did Tyler Doyle's also, but it can be expensive depending on, but that's what it curtails for people. You can make it as expensive as you want or as economical as
Right.
you want. So,
But
but
I
we'll get that
also
done.
want people to know this. You can be a billboard too. I had my husband's magnetic sign that he had on his semi for Jaden made on makeasign.com. It doesn't cost very much money, and I mean, you can put it on there. You never know when somebody will pass your vehicle and recognize
Yeah.
her. So that
Yes,
is also something, people can do themselves, because you never know when you're in the right place at the right time and somebody might see it.
that's exactly right. It's a wonderful idea.
Yeah,
Vanna,
it's great.
thank you so much for joining us tonight and keeping us updated. And guys, if you
Thank
see
you.
this poster floating around on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube community wall, please share this live stream. Please like this live stream and please share this poster out, and also go over and subscribe over at the Facebook group Help Find Jaden Carpenter. It is a public group and we would love to have you over there to be able to share out information. But if you guys see this
Thank
on
you.
my Facebook, make sure you guys are following, and we'll keep you updated if there's any new information that we have at any time. You're always welcome back, Vanna. And of course, if you
You.
next time, if you want to do a live stream, Crystal, we can have Vanna come over on your platform as well, because you've done live streams with Vanna also.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
she's always welcome.
Thank you
so
Always
both
welcome.
so much.
and you are so welcome. I just continue to pray that you will find answers, and I pray that Jaden's okay. I hope that nothing nefarious has happened, but
It's hard to
please,
think that, but I try to hope
I
that as
know.
well. I
I
mean,
know. It just,
it's hard to believe it, like, it's even possible, but, like, I wanna hope that, like,
I wanna hope that too. It just,
just
I
so
just have
young.
really I feel this uncertain way about the whole story thing with the boyfriend. Promise me that you'll stay in touch with law enforcement and you'll let me know, keep me posted about what's happening, about
Oh,
staying on him about the boyfriend, because I don't feel like they're gonna get answers. In Amber Ray Johnston's case, she went missing and the boyfriend was the last to see her, and he just died of a drug overdose. So the mother feels like she wasn't sure she was gonna get answers, but they're working with the Wadesboro Police Department because the remains were found. So
oh, they
they
found
think
her remains?
they believe that it could be her. They're waiting on DNA test.
So where he overdosed, they found her remains?
Well, no, he overdosed after 2 years after she went missing this past September. He died. So, he was the person that needed to be arrested for using her money, but instead he passed away. She didn't get any justice for what he did to her because law enforcement didn't take it serious.
Right.
And she feels like a sense of justice was lost, and I don't want that to happen in your sister's case, because if there's something that needs to be known, law enforcement needs to go out there and find it. Because if
Right.
law enforcement had done their job in these other cases, like with Amber Ray Johnston, then he would have stood in justice for his crimes, and he wouldn't have even been able to get high because he would have been in jail. He'd have been alive, paying for his crime for
Right.
stealing her money while she
And
was missing. But
yep.
instead, now that justice will never be seen. So, but we just found out about the remains.
Well, I mean, in a
So
way, yeah, it will never actually be full justice, but in a way, karma took care of it.
it kind of did in that situation,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I'd be
I
fine
hate
with
to say
that.
it like that, but
That sounds bad, but
um,
I love you, Vannah.
I'd be okay with
sometimes, listen,
it.
Jesus don't need no help. You know what I'm saying? Like when he's
He sure
ready, he's
don't.
ready.
And I'm ready for him to release his wrath on some people that deserve
So,
it.
that's why you got to just make sure you're letting law enforcement know, hey, I'm not going to stop asking you about it because I feel like that this is imperative that you do your job, because
Right.
there is a time frame, and the longer they wait to do their job, the longer that justice is going to take. And
And the longer that the
does
DNA
he
or
just think you're going to
any
forget
evidence
about
can
it?
dissipate.
I think they just think people are just going to forget about it.
Right. How can I
Yeah.
forget?
The best
Exactly.
thing, I mean, one of the best things that you can do is what you're doing right now. In the chat, there's a couple questions for Vannah.
Okay.
One is Sweet D wants to know: has anyone contacted Crime Stoppers in the area Jaden was last seen in, or reached out to the
I have
news?
no idea. I haven't.
The only news channel, there is one news channel that covered it. That was WKRN News. They
Yeah.
had like a little 30-second short video about it. And then there was a follow-up a couple days later on WSMV, which was just a news article and a little 30-second clip it, and that is it.
Yep.
That is
And
all they've
other
covered.
yeah, there's no
And
other media pushes other than like what we have done. I've done a podcast with Charnel Lennox, and I've done had like other influencers like on TikTok and stuff share her story and whatnot. But like other than that, and
yeah,
I'm
anything
actually
in the official capacity of media, that is really all we have. And you know, I really wish they would do another media push. Remember, I talked to you about speaking with law enforcement
I've
to ask.
actually mentioned that to them several times since then.
Right.
I've actually said something about maybe it's time to do another media push. Would that help? And I've mentioned it to them several times since
Arctic
then.
says you need to contact Lamar Billboards and see if they'll donate a billboard for Jaden. They'll
I do
usually
remember
donate.
saying something like that last one of the times we did a live. Yes, I do need to do that.
We will definitely try to get with them and see if they'll do it. Wait a minute. Arctic says one of his cases, law enforcement had the missing lady's car a week before they decided to look in the trunk and found her body.
Are you kidding me?
Stop
That's
it.
see that right there. Like,
Okay.
why? That's like the statement, like he said. Why are you going to be a cop if this is like? Isn't
Yeah.
the point of being a law enforcement to help people and to like try to figure it out? Like that'd be the first place they should have looked.
I know
Yeah,
filter fanny's coming out, but it's in the name. Law enforcement. I mean,
I mean, last I checked. Listen, and I have a lot of respect for my friends and people that their family members are in law enforcement, but there is some people that do shame to this badge, and they should be ashamed of themselves running for it.
yes. I mean, and too many times we see that as being the case. And I know they don't have the personnel, but it would be so awesome if they would have if they could have certain people that look for missing children and certain people that look for missing adults. That's because
Yes.
I don't want this to come across bad, but a lot of times the adults get put on the back burner too.
Right. Like if
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a missing children, they'll have an Amber Alert put out instantly. They can ping all the phone data like instantly. I feel like a lot of this was just put off. They're like, oh, she's an adult. She could have just ran off. She could be anywhere and she just doesn't want to be found. She's an adult. But that's not, I feel like that's not the case, and it is like that. Like, I understand, like, missing children, they don't really have a choice. They're kids and they have to be looked out for. But I feel like
Precisely.
it should be taken with the same sincerity.
And like I
Heidi,
said,
I
we're
don't
not
think
here
they
to
could handle
cause law enforcement, interference. We're here to urge the situation along,
Right.
because Vannah is Jaden's family. She is the direct line to getting the answers for her sister's case, and you want to know that it's okay, just like I've had to talk with Tyler's family. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to record your phone calls. Don't be afraid to ask the difficult questions like, hey, I'm going to need this missing persons report. You
Right.
owe me. This is what is the law. And if you feel
yes.
like something is not being handled appropriately, you've got to take it to task and make sure that they're held accountable, because if it will happen to you, it's going to happen to somebody else. And
Right.
these people deserve to have justice. Their family members are loved, and they could have been murdered, or they may be getting trafficked and people are just looking the other way. So
Right.
it's all about awareness with us. We just want to share out the information that can possibly help uncover the truth so this family member can have closure in the situation, because the worry, the stress of the
Yeah.
situation is, the burden is great.
Yeah.
And
A lot.
many hands make light work. And that's why we
Yes.
appreciate this community being so willing to come and listen to these cases, share out the live streams. If you're catching this on the replay, we appreciate you. Even if you're not here to catch the live, a lot of my subscribers and members will watch it on the replay because they have real life
Oh yeah.
things. Some of them work third shift and they're not
And
able
I'll
to
be
be here,
sharing
but
it. I'll be
you know,
sharing it to all my people that didn't get a
but they
chance
get
to
to hear
watch
it
it. And
from you, and that is so important, Vanna, that you're being Jaden's voice, because people want to hear from the family members. They don't
if
want
it
to
was
hear
me,
from crazy
it would
family members. They want to hear
she would
somebody who really wants to find their family member. They don't want to hear from somebody who's making up excuses and lies and telling tales and arguing, and because that drama is not going to help find the person. It's just
right.
going to create a lot
More
of
more
craziness.
stories. More stories
Yep.
and more rumors.
Right.
And
And
we just
we
want the
just want to
truth.
get
We
out
just
the
want the
facts.
one. Yep, we just want the truth. We want to know what happened for real.
Heidi says she feels like this case is similar to Layla Santinello's case. That boyfriend is shady too. I
Yep.
don't think you're wrong, because she has an addiction situation,
And
and
didn't
her
Layla Santinella's boyfriend like get access to her phone and hack her stuff too?
Mm-mm.
I'm not really sure. I
No,
followed little
I
bits, but like,
I think what
didn't
you
like
may be
something
referring
happen
to
where
is the
he had
cash
messaged
out messages.
the mom was looking
Yeah.
for Layla and the
Yeah.
boyfriend was replying on her phone. Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah, he was replying on her Facebook. Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. Because her Facebook was on his phone. Because
And that's
apparently
pretty much the
her
same thing. Like,
phone was taken by the police, and she had not gotten it back.
right.
Arctic, be calm, sir.
Then, Vanna, before the live stream's over, do you care to give us a good memory that you have with Jaden?
That would be great.
Well, we have a lot. I remember one of the last times that we lived together, it was like I was already an adult and it was after like I had to go back to my mom's house, like after I had lost my home and stuff. And we were watching The Night at the Roxbury and like all those old nostalgic movies like Mean Girls and stuff like that. And we were watching Night at the Roxbury and like just like the inside, like you know how they're brothers, so they have that sibling thing going on. And like every time we would look at each other and be like, "Does this mean anything to you?" And like just like we're gonna because like you know how siblings fight, like physically fight. Every
Yeah.
sibling does it. Maybe not like horrendically, but like every now and then somebody gets whopped upside the head. So it was just something like that. And then there's just so many times that she's just made me laugh. Like, I was looking through like our memories on Snapchat and like we just talked shit to each other. And like it was like when emojis first came out, or like when I first discovered emojis because I'm a millennial and she's like, the Gen Zs. So like it was like when I was like, she's like, turn your emojis on. And I found this one that I'd never seen before. I'm like, what is that? Sasquatch? She's like, no, it's you. I'm like, fuck you, bro. But
That's
you
good
know,
that you had a good relationship. That you
yeah, we were
still, I mean, listen, I know that as family members, I have a sister. Crystal has a sister. We all go through our tough times and we have our arguments and little tiffs, but we still love each other,
right.
and
Yeah.
I know that you love your sister. I mean, I genuinely was just watching you when you were just telling that memory, and I know that you really love and care about her, and I know that you just wanna know that she's okay. Um, she has a child. Is she okay? How is she doing?
Her child really doesn't know much about any of this. Her baby was like still pretty young and she got adopted by her dad's new wife. So
Okay.
that's actually what sent my sister down the spiral that she was on, was because she lost everything that she had a reason to be straight for, and she just felt like she didn't have anything else to hold on to keep her grounded, and she didn't care.
Bless her heart. Well, I'm gonna be praying for her daughter as well, because one day she's gonna grow up and she's gonna wanna know
Right.
about her mother, about her real mother,
Right.
and, I want you to be able to share.
She looks just like her. She looks exactly like her. Like that. I made that TikTok the other day, and one of the pictures that I shared looks exactly like her daughter. Like her daughter is a spitting image of her.
No.
Well, make sure you share all of these wonderful memories with her.
I never actually got to meet her. I don't know if I ever will,
I hope you do. I hope you do
because
get
she's
to meet her.
adopted to, the stepmom adopted her. So I don't know if I'll
Yeah.
ever actually get a chance to. Maybe when she's an adult, she'll come find us. I don't know.
Well, I will keep you in my thoughts and prayers. You can always reach
Yeah,
out to me or Crystal if you ever need anything,
I
Yes.
will.
and, we'll get to work on those billboards, and I'll get in touch with you and let you know what we come up with. And maybe you can check into the Lamar billboards. I'll send you that
Yeah.
link, or I'll have
I,
Crystal send
I've
it
been
to
meaning
you
to do that actually, because I remember
with the
first time
phone
we
number, because
applied.
I know it's over in my mod link chat. Or Arctic, you can drop it in the chat right here if you want to, and you can go back and pick it up, Vanna, if you
Okay.
want to. I think there's a link in the mod chat in the Discord for the Lamar billboards.
Yeah, I'll
We
definitely.
can have Vanna to check on that. And please continue to share out Jaden's information. And I hope everybody has a wonderful night.
Yes.
And thank you again, Vanna, for being here. And we're going to
Well,
continue to share her information. And thank you, Crystal, for also joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I hope you both have a wonderful night. And
you too.
stay in touch, and we'll do another live stream. Just let us know, Vanna.
All right, I will. You
Okay.
have a blessed
Love
night.
Thanks
you,
so much.
Vannah.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night, Vanna. All right. Thank you, Arctic, for sharing that. I appreciate that so very much. For spending this past hour and 30 minutes with me to talk about Jaden Carpenter's case. Sweet D, I wanted to jump over here real quick. I just saw this come by. You were talking about your missing nephew out of Crossville, Tennessee, headed to Hickman County. The guy he was with said they got in an argument and he decided to walk. He hasn't been seen since. So many cases like this seem similar in circumstances. Yeah. Yeah, we're praying, Sweet D. If you send me his information, I'll make him a flyer. If you've got a picture, just if you can look at Jaden's flyer right here, that's all the information that I need, Sweet D. The date that he went missing, the city, county, state, all of this information here. Age, race, hair, eyes, height, weight. If you know any of that, if they wear glasses, have tattoos, birthmarks, if they have a beard or a goatee, any distinguishing features, any information that you want to have on the poster, if you can send that to me at duchessforthemissing@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook at Duchess Discussions, Sweet D. I'll be happy to make you a flyer for free. Just let me know. Michael Fustel, aka Big Mac. Sweet D, I'll be keeping you in my prayers. And Big Mac also. If you do need that flyer, please reach out to me. I'm happy to do it. It's free of charge. I made 10 flyers today. I was busy. And we had an Amber Alert, and then the Amber Alert was found like in just a few hours. I was so thrilled about that. We have to celebrate the small victories. The other day, I think we had 6 Amber Alerts in one day. It was like crazy. So it kind of comes in waves, and we got a lot of people missing right now. There is a couple of ladies that are missing out of South Carolina. And I want to talk about their case. There's also a case that Doodlebug Fart, which I was in this chat earlier, sent me a message and told me about this case of this person that was found murdered recently. And it's a very strange case. And I wanted to do a short live stream about that case so I could bring you all the details that I found out about it. So thank you, Doodlebug, for sending me that email. I really appreciate you so very much. And before I jump off here, in case anybody missed it, I got in my shirt at my Teespring store. You guys can find that in my description. I just got this in the mail, and I think Michelle just got her shirt for the 3 halos. I'm really pleased. This is like the Heather, and it is so comfortable. I really love it. And I also got my tumbler. Check it out. I thought it was so cool. I just had to share that with y'all. So if you guys like my merch, you'll have to go over to my merch store. It's pretty awesome. I thought it was cool. I wanted to make sure I shared that with y'all because it just came in the mail today and I was thrilled about it. This lighting looks terrible on my face. Y'all should have told me that like at the beginning of the live stream. Hey, Jason. I hope you're doing good. So I'm going to be having I'm going to work on this when I get off of here. Putting together a short little live stream that I want to do. So, because I do want to update you. There is a string of missing women along the East Coast, and I think Brooke with Crime Lines and Lies is onto something. There's like some missing women in Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and I had shared that case in South Carolina, and I was actually I had made a missing flyer about it. So I want to talk to you guys about that case, and then I want to talk about Doodlebug's case. So if you have a case that you're interested in hearing about, or if you need a missing flyer, please reach out to me and let me know, and I'm happy to talk about it. Thank you, Dragon. I love it. I'm so impressed with it. Yes, there's my merch link. Please go over and check out all the new merch that I've got added. Sweet G says, that would be wonderful. Thank you, Duchess. This is my friend's nephew, the one that delivered wood to the Wells property shortly after Summer went missing. Oh my goodness, Sweet D. Yes, send me the picture and send me all the information that you can about the circumstances involved, any information that you have. Please let me know, and I will get that made up for you, and I'll send it over to Arctic, and maybe Arctic can make a video or something if he has time. So, and Arctic says there's also a family of 4 that vanished while moving from Louisiana to Texas. Oh my gosh, I don't even know that story. I'm going to need to look into that. I have missed so many cases just from making all these different flyers that people were sending me today, plus some in my state. So I need to go over there and get caught up on all of these different cases. Arctic, if there's a case that you want to talk about together, just reach out and let me know. Or Crystal, if you have another case that we need to talk about, please do let me know. It's good that we can work together as a community to help get this information out. And I really appreciate Brooke with Lies and Lines for putting out that information about those cases and questioning if they may or may not be connected. I know the case in South Carolina is out of Lexington County, so I'm going to go work on that right now. But thank you all so much for being here for Jaden's live stream, and take care, guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'm going to get a couple more live streams scheduled up for later this week. And Sweet D, just reach out to me, and I will check my messages. If I don't get it tonight, then I will check them first thing in the morning, and we'll get something worked up for you. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here, listen to a missing case, Jaden Carpenter out of Columbia, Maury County, Tennessee. So take care, everyone, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.